Okay, this is the 8th transverse section through the head. The prominent features in this section, in the region of the eyes, again we have the globe, or the region of the eyeball. This is the inferior oblique, and if its nerve supply is asked for, it is supplied by the oculomotor nerve. This is the inferior rectus, which is also supplied by the oculomotor nerve. This is the orbital fat pad. In the nasal region, we have the two nasal cavities, which are separated by the nasal septum. Again, these are the ethmoidal air cells, or sinuses. Behind we have the sphenoid sinuses. And lateral to it, this is the trigeminal nerve. This is the internal carotid artery. Behind, this is the basilar artery. Okay, and these are the two temporal lobes of the cerebral hemispheres. These are the mastoid air cells. This is again the cerebellum. Here we can see the inferior vermis. This is the region of the fourth ventricle. This is the confluence of the sinuses. And these are the two transverse sinuses. Then we go to the next section. Again, we can see the two nasal cavities separated by the nasal septum, the ethmoid air cells. Here we have the maxillary sinuses. These two. These are the sphenoid sinuses again. And as there is the maxillary sinus, there is also the maxillary nerve, division of the trigeminal nerve. Again, these are the mastoid air cells. This is the most inferior part of the temporal lobes of the cerebral hemispheres. Here we can see the vestibulocochlear nerve, and it's going to the cochlea. Here. This is the medulla, and these are the fasciculi, the gracilis and the cuneatus. The gracilis, the most medial, it's not distinguishable. And this is the fourth ventricle. Here we can see the inferior vermis again, and this is the dentate nucleus. Regarding the sinuses, these on both sides are the sigmoid sinuses. And this is the occipital sinus behind. Then we go a section deeper. Again, we can see the two nasal cavities separated by the nasal septum, the two maxillary sinuses. Regarding the unique features of this section, this is the temporomandibular joint. Okay. Again, we can see the cerebellum, but in this view we have the fourth ventricle again. This is the lower part of the medulla, and after that there will be the spinal cord. In addition, this is the facial nerve, both sides. And this is the internal carotid artery. This is the external auditory canal leading to the tympanic membrane in the middle ear. And again, these are the sigmoid sinuses. This is the occipital sinus. The muscles, these are the muscles of the mandible. They're not required. This is the masseter. No, actually I can distinguish. Probably this is the medial pterygoid. Anyways, and in the last section, there is again the nasal cavity separated by the septum, the region of the maxillary sinuses, and here the distinguishing features, we can see the jugular bulb, or the beginning of the internal jugular vein, and this is the hypoglossal nerve. The other features are the same, mastoid air cells. And this is the internal carotid artery, both sides. And this is the central canal of the spinal cord. Of course, now this is the beginning of the spinal cord, the anterior median fissure, the posterior median sulcus. This is the central canal. And this is probably the anterior spinal artery going down its groove. This one.